So my name is James Parkin. The easiest way to describe my job, so I work for the Park Authority in Pembrokeshire, but I guess I look after most of the visitor-facing services. So visitor centres, rights of way, the coast path, national trail, crucially, along with our work with schools and things like that. So most of the outward-facing things I deal with. I'm going to talk to you today about the National Park and how it helps to support your business in Pembrokeshire and further afield. It's very hard to follow that video, isn't it? It's such a cracking video. I mean, all credit to Visit Wales, I've got to say, in terms of what they've produced there. It struck me though, I was sat watching it, I thought, I know I've been working for the National Park for quite a while, when one, I thought, isn't that fantastic? And two, I thought, thank goodness that chap's got his dog on a lead. So I just thought, oh no, I've been here a while. Right, what am I going to talk about? 4 things. So product, partnership, promotion and pride. Not the traditional 4 Ps, I know, but trying to come up with something a bit different. So starting by looking at the product. You have to forgive me, I'm going to read here because I really wanted to make sure that I put these points across in the way that I wanted to. So here in Pembrokeshire, I feel, as you would imagine, probably with an enormous amount of bias, that I think we're very lucky to have National Park status. The designation itself obviously provides protection to the landscape, and in turn, I would argue that helps to keep Pembrokeshire special. I mean, we do have truly one of the best coastlines in the world. I think it's easy to forget that the product, in terms of what we have in the landscape, is that good. And some of what I will talk about later will explain that that's not just our personal view. Obviously, this requires quite a delicate balance in terms of managing the landscape. And at times that brings conflict with it, so quite conflicting priorities, and getting that balance right is a tricky business for the Park Authority. But in that sense, I just want to say how important planning is in that respect. Planning within the authority, it's worth just stating that we get measured on all sorts of different things, and one of the things that we all get obsessed by is speed of dealing with applications, which is obviously important to businesses. And there are a number of myths out there, but presently the Park Authority is actually ranked 4th in Wales in terms of the Welsh Government targets that we have to meet for the speed in which we deal with applications. So I just wanted to put that out there to help sort of dispel some of the myths about national park planning. And of course the other myth is that we don't support things, and ironically we couldn't be in a better place to prove that we do support things than being here in Bluestone. So that's my little party political broadcast on planning within the National Park. What does that mean? So we've got this fantastic landscape, so what? Well, it means a lot. It means a lot to us, and it means a lot to you. This is probably quite difficult to see from where you are, but I'll try and talk through it. So every few years we do a visitor survey in Pembrokeshire. What we try and do is rank a whole range of different attributes of people's experience. What you've got there effectively is people telling us what they think is most important, what did they want out of their holiday, and that's ranked against what they felt we were good at. So this is what I wanted, and did Pembrokeshire deliver on what I wanted in my holiday? So what that's telling us effectively is the things that they wanted the most and we delivered the most on were award-winning beaches, opportunities for walking, a range of natural attractions, a diverse range of outdoor activities, and interestingly, that Pembrokeshire represents a sustainable destination. So these aren't my words, these are the words of customers to the area. Similarly, they talk about a high-quality cultural heritage experience and the historical sites that we have, and I could go on. If you're wondering what's down in the bottom corner, it was a lively nightlife. So they didn't come here for that, and we didn't deliver it either. So, value of the national park landscape. Again, what does it all add up to? Well, the national parks collectively got together last year because we're often asked this question, and obviously the value to us is primarily about conserving the natural landscape and the biodiversity of the national park, but there are clear economic benefits. So this was a report that was undertaken looking at the 3 national parks, and for Pembrokeshire, what that highlighted, as hopefully you can see, we help, along with the range of work that takes place amongst other partner agencies and with ourselves. We attracted 4.2 million visitors to the area year on year. We support around 7,000 jobs within the national park, directly or indirectly, and that in turn that contributes 187 million pounds to the economy. So, big figures. I guess what matters more to me is probably the statement at the bottom, which was lifted from National Geographic, who rated the Pembrokeshire coast second in the world in 2010 where they described it as a fabulous example of coastal protection with a very established tourism industry. And for me, that captures, in essence, what we try to achieve, that balance between looking after the environment but supporting people's enjoyment of the national park and local business thriving. So I'm going at breakneck speed because I'm conscious of time, but I'm around for questions later. So on to the next P on my list, partnership. It's probably the most used term in the public sector, I think, and it's often sort of quoted as a bit of a panacea for all sorts of different ills in society. But within tourism, it's absolutely vital, and particularly here in Pembrokeshire. You know, the issues that we're facing at present, whether they're the recent issues of the storm or issues to do with people having less money in their pocket and making different holiday choices, all those kind of challenges cannot be met by any one organisation or by any sector working in isolation. So absolutely vital in Pembrokeshire. I've got to say, I think, and again, I'm probably biased, that we're pretty good at this in Pembrokeshire. We should be. We're a relatively small county. So working together, getting to know the right people and being on the right page is generally an easy thing to do. These are the key sort of organisations, not the only organisations that are involved in something called the Destination Pembrokeshire Management Plan, if I can say that. It's clearly a very important document because we chose to write it in red on the front cover, so it must mean something really important. And quite frankly, it is. It's worth a read. It's available online. I'll put up a link at the end. If you want to know, particularly in terms of those key partners, where we stand and what we think are the challenges and how we're trying to respond to those in Pembrokeshire, that's the document to go to. And we also hold consultation events throughout the year, so you can get involved in shaping that document and the actions associated with it. What does that all mean? Ultimately, it's all about how we coordinate what we have, from the resource of the natural environment to the people that deliver the services, how we utilise funding to the best effect, and ultimately how we use all our assets to support the brand of Pembrokeshire and bringing people to Pembrokeshire on holiday. When we get it right, we get it really right. Ironman has been absolutely fantastic for the county, and I would argue probably for West Wales and Wales overall. It's an event that, from the National Parks perspective, is perfectly designed to take place here. It utilises the topography and the landscape of the national park to best effect. It brings people from literally all over the world, and of course they don't just come for this one event. They come either to train on the course beforehand, or they bring family who come and stop on afterwards. It takes place in the shoulder season, so it's helping to extend the main season. And the amount of TV and media coverage that's generated has been fantastic. It's not the only one. There are other events. Tour of Pembrokeshire is getting bigger and bigger in the north of the county as well, which is proving to be extremely popular, and that's got a lot of media coverage too. So events, I think, are a particular area where the partnership work is really starting to come to fruition. So the National Park itself and the Park Authority, onto promotion. So there's a lot of words on this slide, so I'll talk you through it. What we're probably known most for is obviously the Coast to Coast publication, which I think is extremely valued by both the trade, I would hope, but particularly by our visitors. And lots of people will tell me that it's one of the first publications they seek out when they come to the area. I also know from, I often work from, we've got an office in Tenby, I work from there, and that's where the telephone line is to go to our member of staff, Duncan, who travels around the county delivering these things, and I see the number of phone calls that come in when the bins are getting low because people want more and more of the publication. So, hugely successful for us, and I think hopefully helps promote the destination. Some quick facts. Just about how you can engage with the park authorities. So a similar thing to Visit Wales. If you can pass stories to us, we will do our best to promote those if they've got a national park sort of link. We generate somewhere between 3 press releases on average, and in my time at the park, which is coming on for 5 years, I can genuinely say that 100% of our press releases have created coverage of some kind. So every single press release has generated some kind of press coverage, which is the point, I guess. But again, it's how we can help you unlock some of that to talk about your businesses and things that you want to talk about. We have regular slots on the radio, particularly Radio Pembrokeshire, and we get around about 250,000 visitors to our main website every year. So again, if we can link through the main website, that's going to be beneficial. Also, of course, we operate our own visitor centres of attraction. So Oriella Park in St David's, Castle Henllys, Carew Castle, as well as TICs in the county. Those alone mean that we deal with 300,000 direct customers, not taking into account the people that use the coast path, which I think is something like 60% of all visitors to the area. So again, very close in terms of trying to understand what visitors want and what they're interested in adding value to their experience. One thing that we're working on at the moment, which I wanted to share with you, is obviously the big priority has been tackling the issues to do with storm damage. I'm extremely proud to say that the coast path has managed to remain open throughout the whole period. Whether you'd want to walk on the coast path in such weather is a different matter. But in terms of going into the main season now, the coast path is open. So the only area where we've got a significant restriction is in St David's, which is down to Carfi Bay, which we're trying to work on. Otherwise, it's all open. Some bits are a little bit rough compared to how they used to be, but I think it's really important to us, having seen what happened when we had to close the coast path foot and mouth, that we want to keep that path open. Crucial to all of this has been Welsh Government funding, which has come to Pembrokeshire through Visit Wales. Some of that is being used to try and do a particular focus on Pembrokeshire being open for business. So what we're concerned about is, whilst we've got all the current media and the TV advert, etc., there's been an awful lot of press coverage which is potentially could be quite negative. People might be concerned, is Pembrokeshire open for business? Is the coast path open? Can we get to the beach? So on and so forth. So as part of that campaign, we've received funding to rerun the 60th anniversary poster campaign that we did in 2012, celebrating 60 years of the National Park. Hugely positive for the National Park. The poster, you might not be aware, because obviously you've seen them here, but the poster campaign ran along the main train line from Swansea into Paddington Station and in the Underground in London. It ran during the Olympics and the Paralympics, and we had a huge response to the campaign. So what we're hoping is that through this very kind funding from Welsh Government, we could repeat that campaign using the same format. And it's particularly timely because the campaign actually won 3 awards last night at the UK Marketing Design Awards in London. So that's real credit to Hatched, which were the company that helped us to create the campaign. So yeah, again, we hope that this is enormously positive for bringing visitors to Pembrokeshire. So the last bit that I just wanted to end on is probably a peculiar PE, but pride. This is some of the team that I work with. What did I want to say here? Ultimately, I think in terms of the Park Authority's work, it all comes down to pride. And I would think, and I would hope that whatever service you encounter, whether that's walking the coast path, whether it's going to a visitor centre, whether it's our work in school, so on and so forth, you would see the pride that our staff have in what they do, the passion that they have for Pembrokeshire, for the environment, and the passion that they have for looking after our visitors and making sure that they have a good experience. That, if you like, is probably the best promotion I can give you about how the Park Authority works with your business to support the tourism industry here in Pembrokeshire. Thank you very much.